consultants. Preservation. Recreation. 547, 597, 604, 6.
We can wait.
Yeah, I would, oh, there's Eileen,
so.
okay. I was waiting for her,
Okay,
so,
I'm moving to the game.
Hi, Eileen.
Here.
I'm good.
Okay.
Eileen, you're muted.
Yep, what?
There you go.
How you doing? Hi, Janet.
It's cold and it's getting dark. I don't like to be out.
Well, the time changes on Saturday night, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. Mm.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
4 o'clock now, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready now.
Okay, you'll hear the recording.
Yep, yep. Thank you. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Community Preservation Committee. It's November 1st, 2023. It is exactly, I have exactly 5 o'clock. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at Eastham, www.eastham-ma.gov. And I'm going to start with the agenda. Item number 2, approve the minutes of October 4th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of October 4th, 2023? So moved. Carolyn? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mark? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carolyn, Mark, Janet?
Aye.
Eileen, Joanna, you weren't here. You see, Joanna wasn't here, Eileen wasn't here, and Dave,
I was not.
you weren't here.
Right.
So it's Carolyn, Mark, Janet, me,
Yeah,
you,
it's all-
5-0. Is that 5, 5, 6, 7, 8? I'm missing somebody. There are 9 of us. One.
Ed Kessler.
Yeah,
was not
right.
here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Joanna. So 5-0 is correct. All righty. Item number 3, review annual town report. I put something together for everybody. They want it for the annual report. Any comments, additions, corrections, incorrections? Whatever. Do I have any comments of any kind?
Just a question.
Sure.
What time period does this cover?
This covers last year,
Last
Calendar year. or-
calendar or fiscal?
fiscal.
Okay. Thank you.
Any comments from anybody? Joanna?
Yeah, the only thing I might add is a total. That has the fiscal year, it has the, in the second paragraph are those totals. Maybe they should be added together, but then the projects that were approved for funding, put that total, or it doesn't matter. Whatever other people think.
Under the projects that are approved
This-
for funding.
Well, the whole
at
projects that were approved for
2023
funding,
annual town meeting totaled
was funded.
totaled the amount, would you like? Is that what you'd like?
Is it impactful?
Totaled the amount, totaled, and the dollar figure.
Yeah. Just like to, otherwise I'm adding it up.
And I put this together and I have a question for everybody under the 3rd item, under the grants. And I did not write out what HAC stands for, which is the Housing Authority.
Oh.
And I probably didn't do it because I thought that if I did it, it would have to go into a second line.
But it's still less than one page, so.
And I was trying to fit it in. But I usually don't like to use acronyms without people knowing what they mean.
You should write it out.
Should write it out.
Which one are you looking at?
It's the third dot point under the projects, grant to assist the HAC
I
in
would write it
funding
out.
the 107 Main Street project.
Otherwise, it might be heating and air conditioning,
That's right. Then I'd have HVAC.
right?
And then it makes it clear what the project is for.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I will write that out. Any other suggestions, et cetera?
I move that we approve the report with those
As amended,
suggested, yeah, as amended.
that's Joanna as amended. Carolyn second. All in favor? Dave, Carolyn, Mark, Janet, Eileen. Eileen,
I haven't seen that. Where was it included?
it was in the packet, both packets.
Today's?
The email, I emailed it out.
Yeah, you mailed it out. Yeah, but it was also in the packet.
Why, there wasn't in mine. Wasn't in mine. I'll look again.
1, 2, 3, Janet is 4, 5, Joanna, 6, 7. I'll do 7-0. And I'll say Eileen abstained. Okay. Oops. 2 items. Alrighty, thank you, everybody. That is item number 3 on the agenda. I am going to go to item 4 on the agenda. Actually, I think what I might do, since Art is here, go to the item that he's here for. And then proceed on from there. So Art's here regarding the Schoolhouse Museum project submission. Would you like to come up here, Art, or?
Do I have to sit next to Mark?
Yeah. Next to you.
Works both ways.
Yeah.
This 200 Schoolhouse Road, Linda Burt as the contact. That's what we're talking about.
No, we're talking about the Schoolhouse Museum.
Oh,
Just fold it over.
It's number 6 on the list.
It looks like
Yeah.
this.
okay.
If you like, I can,
Let's do that.
Yes,
Paul.
please.
That's it.
It's
Well,
this one,
and
it's this one.
Just before you start,
Okay.
I was in the process of doing an addendum to that. Because you requested some interior photos, which I have. And some questions.
Use the mic,
And
please.
some questions relative to the various guidelines, and I was answering those. And I've not quite finished that, but it's probably a moot point now, so.
so in the course of doing some research about this project, we were trying to verify what the requirements would be for use of historic building materials to match. And we were talking with the state CPA coalition. And in the course of that research, the folks at the CPA coalition were inquiring about the nature of the project to try to give us guidance. And then when we explained it was for the reconstruction of the wing of the building that no longer exists, they informed us that that would not be an eligible project for CPA because CPA was designated for restoration and rehab of existing historic buildings in order to preserve them from, so that was contrary to my understanding of CPA, and just to be fully transparent, I thought this was eligible, and I'd been advising the applicants of that for the, past few months as they were working on this. So I was basing that on the fact that back in 2006, the CPA did fund the project for the new wing that is there now. And when I was researching the eligibility, the building materials, I was referencing the Secretary of Interior's, the federal guidelines. And they have a whole section that deals with reconstruction. So I was putting these things together and not realizing that the federal guidelines have that. It has nothing to do necessarily with CPA, which is just the Massachusetts state program. So got to just be transparent. I gave the applicant some bad advice, which is very, very unfortunate. But it seems at this point, based on what we've been told from the state, the project wouldn't be eligible. However, I would like to look back at the 2006 application. We don't really have any information. I'm hoping maybe the folks at the museum have.
I think we may have some in our files.
Yeah, to try to figure out what the rationale for that project was. I surmise that it was
Yeah.
part of, they were rehabbing the existing building and, so it might have been,
I don't know whether they were doing anything in the actual schoolroom.
Yeah, they did both.
I remember coming across some documents years ago in the files. It's obviously an issue for us. It's an issue because we've already spent $14,000. And obviously it was at our own risk, but we were pretty confident we were going to be able to get at least some money. So we'll go back and try and find any
Documents from the
any
2006.
documents. Paul, you sent me an email. I mean, is there, can you send me what can you give me that is the specific wording or whatever, or the CPA Act or whatever, that you can send me that so I can explain this to the rest of the group?
yeah, I will send that to you. So I emailed you the,
You had
email from the state,
The letters,
folks at the
I just saw the letters
Yeah.
that were going back and forth.
and I will get you the excerpt from the actual legislation. But that's where it stands, and I'm looking through the guidance on the state website. They kind of have a flow chart, and basically if it's not for historic rehabilitation or restoration of existing, it's not eligible. But like I said, I'm hoping there's some nuance here that maybe the project will qualify. So
So I'm just thinking this is recreating a structure, a piece that's no longer there. So I can see how it wouldn't meet because I'm just thinking of places where someone can come and say, we're gonna make the Mayflower. We're gonna put a new Mayflower here. I'm exaggerating, but I mean, I think this is a wonderful thing to do. So, and the categories are pretty specific though. So obviously historical is the first one. Open space.
Well, it fits the Secretary of Interior requirements for historic preservation. And it fits in our town strategic plan, what
Right.
we want to do. Unfortunately, it appears,
Creating a new.
unfortunately,
I mean,
the
creating.
CPA funding guidelines are different. I know it was demolished, and we're trying to recreate it because we want to go back to what it really looked like initially.
When was it demolished?
I'd have to
I
go
mean-
back. This stuff all predates all of us, so I
Yeah,
have
not
to go back and
recently.
find out.
If this doesn't work, what other,
Well,
Options.
well,
the total-
fundraising,
The total project's about $560,000.
Right.
500 and something. We were going to contribute 150,000. Okay, we had
You're looking for us for 447.
Yeah, we had a donation, an anonymous donation of $100,000, which got us going on this. Plus, we've done a little bit of fundraising and we do more fundraising, but there's no way we're gonna get fundraising of 500,000 or whatever.
What other
Well, we
types of
got $1 million for
grants?
the library.
Yeah, I know that, but I don't see,
Who,
I don't,
are there
I don't
other
see that.
types of state, I mean, other grants and
don't know. Have not researched any of that yet.
So I did place a call into the Mass Historic Commission to try to do some research.
Mhm.
I think the big thing is there's a lot of grants out there. Whether they qualify for the reconstruction,
Reconstruction.
recreation of a building, I haven't found
Right.
anything yet, but I'm waiting to talk to, someone directly.
Well, we'll take a look, but I mean,
Mhm.
it's brand new information for us, so we haven't
Carol.
done much.
Carolyn had a question.
Well, part of the grant application, when I read it, was for preservation of documents and artifacts and other things that you've run out of space to
True.
do in the other building. Would there be any part of this that we could fund? Assuming they found other money to pay for part of it, could CPA funds be used for a vault or the air conditioning in the basement or some small amount, but that has to do with preservation of
It's
Documents and
possible
records.
and it's
The
possible.
humidity control,
Right.
this committee would cover the humidity control for our Eastham room at the library.
right?
well, and for this town hall renovation, part of it was for
I-
preserving.
Yeah, but the only
Yes.
caveat with that, it was in a building that was existing and
Right.
historic.
Right.
Right.
I think if it were. Well, I don't know, but we can certainly ask that. So there might be components of the building that,
That would be small, but still it might be a
Mhm.
little bit of
Yeah.
something.
Art, is there any like foundations that are left or anything of that nature?
I doubt it, no. If it's there, it's buried.
An
Um,
old cesspool. Wait.
So I don't know.
Probably not.
Hmm.
It's a shame.
Yeah, because this, yeah, this is a great project.
Mm,
We need to find somebody that was there then.
mm. Well, as I said, we didn't think we'd ever have the chance to raise $1 million for the library and we went over $1 million.
No, I understand that,
So
but I
there
think,
is-
I think the draw of the library is a lot wider from a
No,
community
that could be,
standpoint.
yeah.
The people that
Than the
use it
Schoolhouse
and
Museum.
everything. We have 300 and something members,
Mm,
okay? Our annual budget's about $40,000.
Mhm.
We would never have embarked upon this had we not gotten the anonymous
and so, yeah,
donation
mm,
and then felt that we could get, it was historic preservation. We said, gee,
Mhm.
it's gotta fit great with CPA funds. This is what we're doing. So we made the assumption and we got the
Proceeded
guidance
from
that
there.
said you could potentially get funds. So that's why we embarked on it. I have to, I don't know whether the board would wanna, try and do fundraising to that level.
mm,
It's a bit stretch, I think. But
mm.
anyway, we'll go back, we'll pull out all the documentation we can find on the original CPA.
Mhm.
uh,
On the 2006 one.
Paul, could you, when you do the research for the 2006, is it possible just to go back to them and say, hey, you allowed it back then?
so the files we have upstairs from 2006 we don't have the original application or any of the narrative that explain what the nature of the project was. We just have the town meeting approval and the historic. So those files predate me. I don't know why they're not in there. So I don't have a lot of information. As far as so
There's always a risk if we push too hard on the 2006 precedent, that they come back and say, well, that wasn't
Yeah,
eligible either.
Right, right.
so
Give us back 600.
We can't give them the money back.
so but I will say,
Money.
every town makes up their own mind about what they're going to approve or recommend and get approved. And sometimes it just depends on the level of if anyone takes issue with it. So when you go through that CPA Coalition website is great and it has hundreds and hundreds of projects, the database from all over the country, all over the state. And you go in there and I used to use that a lot as justification oh, this town did it, but really what I was told by the students is don't do that because they're just logging that this happened. And every town, and every town's gonna get different advice, different legal opinions, and it goes through, and this happens a lot with the, when you have historic renovation of a church or something, and there's always that issue, and a lot of towns do it, and then sometimes they get called out on it and it gets litigated and, but other towns.
Right.
So I would just say that we can go through the research process. If need be, we can get a legal opinion to say, is this within?
But I
Parameters.
guess you make it sound like that if we wanted to do this, we could do it. I mean, what you just said is each town is different and they each make their own decisions on what they're gonna do. And the website is a guideline on what you can and what you can't do, but each town makes their own decision. So, and I understand we want to do what's right. But it almost sounds like we could decide to do this with CPA funds, and I don't know if that's correct.
Well, I would say this is the advice we got, or the guidance we got from the CPA coalition. They are advisory. They don't go around tracking these things or policing them or saying you spent CPA. That's not their role. They just merely provide guidance and they track.
Who are
data.
they? Are they a state office? Are they just a private group? I mean, who?
No, it's like a quasi-state nonprofit. They were formed, so the folks that work there, the lead person, Stuart Saginaw, wrote the CPA legislation
Right.
back in the day. And then they created this coalition that operates to
Support.
basically be advisory to all the towns in the state in the program.
Yeah.
And they do advocacy and education and provide guidance. So I guess the point I was trying to make was they don't review projects and they don't go and police these issues. Each town is, well, what they're saying is based on their interpretation of the legislation, this isn't eligible. So we could take that under advisement, seek our own legal opinion or another guidance on it. And if this group, I guess the way it works, if this group feels like it's justified that the project can move forward and then it goes and it gets approved by town meeting, that's the way it goes. I mean, and it'll happen. And then it's really, if someone decides to take issue with that, it may open up the issue to further review, but that is what has happened in a lot of time. That's why I was saying that database exists and it's tempting to use it. And I've made this mistake now to say all these other towns have done the same project and that's fine. You can use that, but it doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't make it legitimate as far as the legislation is concerned. Towns, like I said,
Yeah.
it's all different projects, different methods, different legal opinions. And a lot of towns where you see this project, yeah, they did it and they maybe they got advice or guidance or made it seem like they could do it and they did it.
Is it a private citizen that would have to come forward to say, you did this incorrectly? And then issue a lawsuit or something?
I mean, it could be, I don't know what the legal standing for what entity or person could or couldn't do that, but.
So-
It would be most likely that we would ask our legal counsel, the town's. legal
Yeah, that's, I guess my
yeah.
question would
Yeah.
be, next step is I'm gonna go try and get some documentation on the original schoolhouse building. The one was approved by CPA. Okay, I think the next step then is based on that, which is probably not gonna give us anything that we're gonna be able to say, yes, see, did it before, you should do it again. I'm assuming that I would ask this committee to take the next step to determine whether we need to go get legal.
Get legal
Get
advice.
legal advice. So only because we've already spent quite a bit of money and I'd hate to see that go down the tubes, but if it does, it does. But I would, I'm just trying to chart out what's next. So I'll get the documentation and then you guys are gonna need to decide what you want to do.
Joanna has a question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody thinks this is a bad project
No, I understand that.
in general.
No, I understand.
So, but I would be more comfortable, I mean, right now, I wouldn't be comfortable with funding a reconstruction that, fully, it's not fully, you've got some funds. I would be more comfortable, and I haven't reviewed this carefully because this is the first time I saw it. But I would like to have a chance to go through things and find portions, like Carolyn mentioned, that there may be pieces that can be emphasized for some of this funding, and hopefully a large chunk of funding through some other thing that's more in line with the CPA legislation.
That's eligible. I mean,
Right.
the way we look at it is something is either eligible or it's not. It's
understand.
sort of no
Right.
gray.
I
Right.
understand. So I think it's appropriate for me to finish that addendum and get it to you. Is that right?
But would that include whatever you found from the 2006 review, if you were able to
If-
find any of
if
those
you-
documents?
If
Yeah.
you, yeah, I could do that. I mean, the addendum is addressing this specific request. I could also provide to everybody that any documentation that we found. I don't know if you would want me to include it in the application or what. Just here's the documentation, then we can decide what to do with it.
I mean, I don't want you to be doing work that's
Don't-
not
no,
gonna come to
I-
fruition.
it's
So I would say the addendum that we had talked about that we were working on, I would hold off on that until we figure out. whether
Well,
the
I
project
think
can go through.
we'll, don't worry about how much work I have to do, because I'm okay with that. And it's almost done.
Well,
And it provides some of the pictures you wanted and some of the other things that you wanted. So I don't have any problem expending any more work at this point in time. Because it's not onerous to do it. At some point in time, and that's nothing, we'll just drop it, but I can finish that, and I can research and find out what kind of documentation we have. Because I remember seeing stuff. Now, whether it's still there or not, I don't know.
I have it listed on our listing, and it is listed for 2006. It was for $250,000.
It's 2006.
2006, and we approved $250,000.
Is that something like if they did the schoolhouse at the same time that they put that addition on? Is that, what do they call it, like, part of the reconstruction of the original building, adding that wing? So I don't know if that makes that okay. And if so, this would be like an ongoing finishing up of that. But I don't know how it was written. You know what
yeah,
I'm
so
saying?
I don't either. So my guess
I
is
think
that
so.
because it was related to actually rehabbing, I don't know. I'm assuming they were rehabbing the original piece at
I
the same
believe they
time.
were.
Mhm.
And maybe that the whole project was justified in that manner. And
Right. So if
maybe
it
there's-
was,
Let's see.
Right.
if it was, then this would be an ongoing finishing of it.
right.
I think is what,
I mean, that could be an avenue to explore for eligibility. Again, so when I was looking at the sheet, I said, oh, well, we already funded
Something
a whole
similar.
other wing. We funded the first wing back in 2006. So
Right.
Okay, so we have some homework to do. We can't decide tonight. Because we don't have the information that
Absolutely.
we need.
Well, I'd like to point out one other thing. I don't think we should spend CPC funds to consult with the town attorney on the application
At this point in time.
at any point in time until there's a real application that meets the code. We can't spend CPC money on what we're discovering is an application that may not meet our guidelines for funding.
Right.
So if your group wants to consult with the town engineer, the town attorney, you'd have to do it.
I would, maybe you wouldn't recommend it, but I would think that based on the fact that we proceeded with this because we thought it was inappropriate, I would like to get as much legal opinion as I can get. Okay, and I don't think it's appropriate to ask us to fund the town lawyer. Okay, now,
Well-
we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, no,
Okay, all right.
My
I ju-
only concern is we have fiduciary responsibility on our funds. And if it's pointed out that an application, and not just you, anybody,
I
it's
understand.
pointed out that an application doesn't meet the guidelines for funding. I personally don't think I would vote to expend funds to try to prove that it does meet the guidelines through some other means. It's not our responsibility. And I don't think we can expend our funds to get there. That's my only point. I don't think, I'm only one vote, so maybe you'll get enough votes to do it. But my concern is we've gotten an opinion that doesn't meet the guidelines. To fight that opinion, in my opinion, we can give you help and support, but I don't think we can authorize expenditures to fight somebody's battle to see if it conforms to the guidelines. It just
Not-
seems to be out of the realm of,
I'm not asking for a fight. What I'm asking for is a legal opinion as to what's been said and whether it's appropriate or not.
so
That's
does that cost us money? That's, I guess all I'm asking is to get a
town
legal
council.
opinion.
all. Town would pay for it.
Will the town pay?
I'll speak to the town
Okay.
manager.
Town manager pays for it. I got no problem with it.
Town will pay for it.
I just don't think.
I'll vote.
Fine, you'll vote for it.
No,
Okay.
but I think if we had not spent any money on this,
If you'd feel differently.
I'd just walk away. But we spent 14,000 so far, and I would like to find a way to at least recoup that or feel good to myself personally that it was a worthwhile expenditure. So, but anyway, I understand where we are.
And the good news is, I don't know how much, but
Carolyn, can you speak into your thing because you've got a mask on?
oh, the good news is that
Yeah.
the 14,000 that you spent, which I assume was part of how you got these plans that you
Yes.
submitted to us, they're still good. And
Yes.
so if you
Absolutely.
found a grant, if you found some way to do some other fundraising, et
It'd
cetera,
still be
eventually
appropriate.
they're still gonna be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's a good thing.
But I'll be dead by that.
No, you-
So I won't feel good about
no,
it.
you-
We won't feel good if
Don't
you're
feel
dead
bad
at all,
either.
so.
That's right.
All right, I'll go try and get the documentation. I'll finish the addendum and get it to you, and I'll get you all the documentation I have, then you can make sure everybody else has got it, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for letting me talk. I appreciate it. And thanks for moving me up on the agenda.
No problem. Oh, boy, thanks for coming.
I don't talk to you. You want me to get a hold of Lennox? Okay.
I don't know where to put all this.
Back to finances.
Okay, let's go back to the agenda. Where were we here? Let me see, we went from 3 to 6, now we're back to 4.
Yes.
4, review most recent financial information as of September 30th and status of outstanding projects. And Tina did send out, and I think also in your packet, where was the information, financial information, the CPA cash. And I see that Tina is not here. She's on vacation, so I just noticed that 2 things are increasing. One is our investment income, which is nice to know because of interest rates being high. From last month to this month, it went up $10,000. And the tax collections went up about 5,000. I'm sorry, 34,000. They were 5. So that's because of taxes being paid prior to today, which they were due today. So that's the only comments that I have. I had a question on open space for $189, but I don't know what, Tina's not here and I don't know what that was for. Do you know what that might be for?
Disbursements.
Under open space, I don't know.
That's the signage.
Now, the
Uh,
signage was paid out of the administrative account. That was $1,650.
Well, she can tell us next time.
Oh, she can tell us next time. Anybody have any questions on the CPA cash balance?
Looks good.
Nope.
On to the listing of the projects, and we did receive, and I think it was in your packet, a final report for the Wiley Park.
Phase 1.
I've got too much stuff here.
Yeah, use mine.
Yeah, yeah.
This is that.
Here
Well-
it is, here it is, here.
The report is brief.
Yeah.
But it does return money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so Ed
It's-
is returning, of
yes.
the original $22,973.93. And probably the reason so much is being returned is that they weren't able to do the shade part. And so they came back to us for the 55,000 that we approved last year. And so they're returning the
Mhm.
$9,073.93. Do I have any questions
Yeah.
on this particular?
So there's so many different Wiley Park and,
Yeah, it's,
Right, I
if
did.
you're looking at the listing of the projects.
well, no, I'm actually just looking, listing at the short list. It's the one that
It's-
balance remaining is $9,073.90. So it's that
Yeah,
one.
it's that
Okay,
one,
so
two,
that
three.
will be
It's the
closed
sixth-
out.
Sixth item.
Right. Right. So,
Yeah, so that'll be closed out.
so
So unless anybody has a
fine.
question.
I just have one question.
Sure.
Reading the written summary.
Yep.
Just to be sure I understand the words. In the second sentence, working with their team of you were able to design an upgraded playground that was completely handicapped accessible. Did they just design it or did they put it in? In other words, is this money for design or is it money for actual construction or?
It's for
Okay,
both.
I think,
It's for both.
yeah, I think it was for both, yeah.
well,
Okay.
for only, 13, I mean, they spent
I-
just
So
under 13.
I just would suggest that the word not be just design, but design and
Yeah.
implement.
The, the, the project that has the 9,000 left
Yeah,
Right.
was for the design. We came back
Okay,
Yeah, so
that's
it's
just for the
different.
three
design.
46
That's what I was asking, yes.
for the
Okay.
construction, and then there's 28,000 left.
Right.
And then the 28 plus the 55
that's for the
is
shade.
funding the shade shelter,
Okay,
and then
Right.
whatever's left over after that will be
Yes.
returned, and then everything will be done.
so this particular project that would be in Tina's line number 585019 is just design. And that's what the
Yeah.
narrative says. Okay, I'm with it.
Right, and so that one will be closed out, that piece,
That's great.
because-
Right,
and then the getting it done
Okay.
is
And
different.
then everything
Okay.
should be done hopefully by the end of the year. The shade shelter's been ordered. We're just waiting
Mhm.
for delivery and installation, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I need a motion to approve the final report regarding the Wiley Park renovation.
So moved.
That's.
Phase one.
Just a minute.
Second,
Let me find what I'm doing here. Here it is here. I'll say, Dave?
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Joanna,
just Wiley Park, phase one, I think.
Yeah.
is-
all in
yeah.
favor?
Aye.
One,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Yes.
two, Mark, three, Janet, four. Eileen, we can just see your
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
Six, me, seven, Dan,
Eight.
8-0. That's Dave, Joanna, 8-0. And that will be returned to the motion is to return it to the account that it came from.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. What's that? Let me see, is there any other, I'm looking to see. If there's any, the only other comment that I want to make on the CPA trust fund. Was not it was the CPA trust fund. We have received information, speaking of the coalition. That the monies that we expect to get from the state due to the Registry of Deeds is probably not going to be anything close to what we've been getting the last couple of years because of real estate isn't selling. And they're expecting only about 20%. Which is probably the lowest that I've been aware of. You've been at it longer than I, Dan.
Yeah, that's low.
Yeah. And I did look to see what the committee had approved and the town had approved for the monies going forward for this coming year. And essentially what we did was we took what we thought we were going to be receiving from the tax collections and we added 25% of that to be the amount that we were going to use for the matching grant. So I think we're okay because what we anticipated receiving from the taxes was lower than what we're going to be receiving because of the assessed values were higher. And so 20% of that would be close to what we ended up using for the match. So I think we're okay
Right.
in that regard, but I just wanted everybody to know that it's not going to be what we thought it was going to be.
Right, and I just would point out too, if you look at the prior several fiscal years, those total revenue things, the 10% allotments have always been under what the 10% of that final is.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so, I mean, that was one of, I think, Tina's points is to sort of to be conservative
Better to
about
be
that. So I think
conservative
we're,
about that
so I
than
think
to be over,
fine.
over and then not, and then
Yeah.
not have it.
because what, yeah, it was with fiscal year ending in 2023, the full fiscal year is 1.4 million and the 10% were like just over one, like 114.
Yeah,
So they were,
10%.
so I don't
Yeah.
think, yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So I
we'll be
think we're
fine.
okay. And also the last 2 years, the state has given us additional monies.
Right.
That we weren't anticipating from the Registry of Deeds. I mean, last year there was 20 million that was
Right.
distributed and the year before that there was some money
Sure.
too. So that may happen, but
Mhm.
who knows? We
See.
can't count on it.
Okay.
Okay, and to anything else under item number 4 from anybody? I'm going to go on to number 5, the CPA 5-year plan, and I'll let Paul talk about that.
So we did a request for quotes to update the 5-year plan. I have, we received one proposal from J.M. Goldson, who worked on the previous plan. The estimate came in at 49,958.
How convenient.
So
49,000.
it was over that initial amount, and then I reworked the scope and basically consolidated some things to get the price down so it would fit within the budget. So what you have here is the result of that was, instead of doing, I had originally scoped out doing some stakeholder sessions, one each for each funding category. We've consolidated that into one session, and we've basically changed everything over to all the meetings will be virtual, hybrid, except for the public work session or public
So the meetings with Jan.
session. Yeah, so yeah, all of these work session meetings with the committee will be remote, and I think she's gonna do she is gonna do the stakeholder things remote. We're gonna have one community workshop, which will be
Right.
in person. That saved on just the travel and
But that makes
budget
sense.
stuff. So we got it down to within the budget. And what I've just handed out is the full scope. So we're really doing everything we did last time. There will be stakeholder feedbacks, community survey, all of the same components in the current plan will be there and just be updated. We'll take a look at the application that we use, if there's any room for improvement, updating of that. The guidelines. And then we've scoped out six meetings with the committee. And the timeline is to have everything finished by the end of next June, so it'll line up with the fiscal year.
So just remind, this is using CPA administrative funds.
CP admin funds, yes.
We have a little over 55,000 in the administrative account, so.
And are we I forget how, are we moving money for your position? I mean, how's that working? Do we have enough?
Yes,
Okay, then.
Do we need a motion to
Yeah.
accept the proposal?
I would think so.
yes, and to authorize use of the admin funds.
Did you, you sent this out to a bunch of places though, and this was the only one that came back?
Yes,
And I know you've been on the committee longer than I have. This is the individual that we used last time.
And yeah,
I don't think I've been on, was
Oh.
on it at that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I was on at that point, and
I wasn't on it, but I remember attending as.
I even have it, but she did a very good job.
yeah. And as a new person, I thought that one looked great. Can't we just change the year? I mean, I'm serious.
In
It does
essence,
sound
that's what we're doing.
pretty good for $50,000.
Yeah.
Last time it was around 15 or 16,000.
Yeah, some of that has to do with the community engagement and the work that goes into doing some of that. But it is, if you looked at, you know,
But you only got one bid out of everything you put out.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I move that we accept the
Mhm.
response to the RFQ for the update of the CPC plan and authorize the expenditure of up to $50,000 from the administrative fund that we have allocated.
I will second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Uh,
One,
my
Carol, Mark, Janet, Eileen, Joanna, me.
Aye.
one, one,
Yes,
two, three,
my
four,
motion
five,
should say, accept the bid of JM Goldson.
eight,
And
zero.
it's
forgot
for
to
the
say
update
that.
of the 5-year plan.
The
Five-year
updated
plan.
five-year plan,
Five-year.
right.
That was Carolyn, Dan, and it's 8-0. So what is the, when do we start? What's the first? I'm looking at it right now.
She'll meet with us in December.
yeah, so we'll start as soon as we can, so we'll have to,
November, December?
yeah, so I'll have to work with you about how we want to structure. We
Yeah.
want to keep it as part of the regular meetings or schedule some extra sessions or. So I'll work with you offline to figure out the,
Okay. So
time
I think,
schedule.
I mean, I think it was last year, but I will say it again, that I think everybody should look at the plan that we have in place. So that we can figure out what we'd like to change or alter or keep, or, so we have an idea of what we already have.
And I think this is an opportunity for. You know, a lot of the stuff is just updating the data and everything, but we'll do a big piece is the public outreach and just kind of getting a sense of where's the community and what are their value, you know, what are their.
Right.
Cause the plan should reflect that. And I think also just that's where this group can have the discussion about. How do you want to steward the funds and handle, you know, when you have reserves. And issues about using the reserves. I think this is the opportunity to do that, and then you kind of set your policies. We have guidelines of the policies, how it's gonna
Right.
work out, and then
And since our
keeping an
town,
eye into what we anticipate in the next 5 years, given. You know, the community's needs, desires, pressures, all these things.
Mhm. Does any of this need to go to town meeting?
No,
We don't have to get approval from town meeting.
no.
If we
No.
change, as a result of doing this work, if we change something, that might need to go to town meeting. The reserves.
No,
No,
Changing reserves.
this would be yeah, if we're changing the actual, but
yeah.
we do that anyways. This would be what I was getting at was. The policy behind how you want to allocate the reserves
Yeah,
or what
yeah,
to do
yeah.
in the event you have. Excess reserves and do you know, how do we apportion those things?
and once we have it finally approved, then we would present it to the select board so that it becomes part of the official sort of policy documents of the town. But it doesn't have, I don't know if select board approves it. I can't remember from last time.
I don't believe they
I
do.
don't
They don't,
think they did.
They don't
we,
approve it.
we
They
do it
accept
as kind of a courtesy and then we usually ask for their endorsement of it,
Yes, they
just
kind of accept it,
to make sure that we're all on the same page, but
Right.
technically it doesn't require any.
exactly. So at the
Other
end,
than
you
from
might
this-
go and you and Paul and
Paul, is that the last one? Is that online? So if
It's
I
on,
have a
the s-
physical copy, but other
Yeah.
people.
it's on the CPA's webpage on the
It's
town.
online.
The date is 2018.
right, because it's a 5-year plan.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on the 5-year plan issue, project, what have you? We are back down to number 6, the applications. And we've discussed one of them already. I know there are a number of them that we have not seen, I have not seen, and I'm assuming everybody else has not seen until today. But we did have 2 that came in. And that Stacy provided to us. And so one of them is, let me see, I don't know how you, let's go on the order here.
Sure,
Let
just
me
take them
see.
in order.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing.
think I handed it out last.
CC.
So the first one is,
The first one is the Lower Cape Housing Institute.
no,
No,
number
it's
1 is
580.
580 Massasoit.
580
Yeah,
Massasoit.
yeah, but what I'm saying is those are ones that we haven't reviewed.
You haven't reviewed
Haven't
any of
reviewed any of
these?
them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Technically.
yeah, we've reviewed, we received the
Oh,
one
okay.
on the Finch. The
Yeah.
Finch.
But we as a committee haven't reviewed any.
No, I agree.
Okay. You're chairman, you decide which order we want to look at these.
Well, I'm going to recommend that since none of us, and I'm assuming this is true, since none of us have reviewed. I'm looking at the list. None of us have reviewed 580 Massasoit Road, I'm not even sure if it's
I
here.
did.
Oh, there's,
The Affordable Housing Trust. You see, we've received the Lower Cape Housing Institute, that's number 3. We've received number 4, Finch State Skate Park. Received number 5. That's here, but not reviewed. The Schoolhouse Museum, we've just discussed. The Spring Rock here is just received. And the Sandy Meadow is just received.
Right.
So I have only seen, apart from what we've just picked up today, the Lower Cape Housing Institute and the Finch Skate Park.
Right.
Is that true for everybody?
Well, Stacy had emailed out earlier yesterday or today. So I actually have looked at the ones that she emailed, except for the huge thing that didn't get emailed. But I think the purpose of what we're doing today is just have a very high level overview of what the projects are. And then deciding
Mhm.
when how we're gonna bring them in for interviews. So we're not really reviewing the details of the projects tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
so-
none of us.
Right.
None of us have had a chance to even look at it,
Right,
look at them, I should say.
right. And we will want to give the project sponsor the opportunity to be here when
Oh,
we
yeah.
have the
Yep,
discussion.
I agree.
Right. So I'm comfortable with going ahead and saying, trying to stagger out which projects on which days in December and January. Because those are the 2 meetings where we'll
right.
have people come in.
Right. And I'm thinking, agree with that we can sort of pick the ones that are most complete today might be the most ready for December 6th.
That makes sense.
Okay, well, number 3. I guess the only thing is it went up from last year.
Yes, it did.
Well, number 1 and 2 are our placeholders, so we don't have them to discuss right now because they're just being.
Right.
Well, that is the discussion.
Right.
We have this a
Right.
submitted placeholder
Okay, all right, so
application.
why don't we do one by, if nobody
do one
objects,
by
let's do
one,
them
Mary.
one by one. So number one, we have a placeholder for Massasoit, is that right? Yeah.
Right, it is
And
Massasoit.
we don't have any information, so we're not ready to.
And I know, Paul, that the town is working on getting the information in terms of projected budget. Do you have any idea when that might be?
My request would be if we could schedule that till, January, after
January.
the holiday, not December. So
Okay,
And my only question on this initial stuff is, shouldn't they be requesting funds from two sources, historic preservation and affordable housing for that apartment?
I think it depends, Paul, correct me, but it depends on what comes in and whether they're going to use the funds at this time to do the renovation for the third floor. Okay, it depends.
yeah,
on the
right
scope.
now, what we're scoping out is it's just the rehab of the historic aspect and
Right.
not,
Okay.
but that may change. Then that's partly, we're still trying to figure it
That's
out.
partly
That-
what.
Yep.
Is in discussion.
So January.
So January for that one.
Mhm.
So the Affordable Housing Trust, I would also suggest January.
Mhm.
They're somewhat related and that will be, we won't be ready in December.
I'm just looking at the date in January. We have two dates in December that are on here. One we can use, it's not a normal one, and then we have the January 3rd is a regular meeting. So you're talking about January 3rd for the
First
for
two.
the first two.
And yes,
Then the Lower Cape Housing Institute we have. So it would seem to me, and we've had them before. Right, it would seem to me that we should have them
December
on
6th.
December 6th. Does that work for everybody?
yes. And they look prepared.
And then the Finch State Park one, we have received that. That looks to be complete, and I would try to put that down for December 6th as well. Does anybody
That makes sense.
have any question on that? Then the Eastham
I
Elementary,
guess I do have a question on that.
Sure.
Are we normally in the position to fund out of town recreation facilities?
Oh, yeah.
we have an agreement with them,
We do.
Yeah.
yes.
And
Okay. And what's that?
Eastham is the second top user.
Okay, I just procedurally asking a
Yeah, yeah, it's a good
question.
question.
No, that is a very good question.
Yep.
There is a, halfway through the package, there's an
There's a,
intermunicipal agreement
Mhm.
between Orleans, Brewster and Eastham for the operation of the park.
Mhm.
So that's
we
the
share the costs with Brewster and Orleans.
about halfway in. Dan.
Okay, so
Mhm.
when they do this, do we care and do we want and will they provide, do we put a sign saying we funded it?
I would think so.
Yes.
Here's the-
But I'm just asking the question. Is
Sure,
that,
yeah,
is that
sure.
reasonable? Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
But I have a bunch of questions because it
Yeah.
looks like I don't want to go through it all now, but it looks like we have been supposedly supporting it for a while through the recreation. I don't know the answer and what I'm saying is correct or not, but based on what I've read, the recreation department, I have no idea what that consists of, how much money it consists of, what the story is.
And it sounds like in that intermunicipal agreement that the Eastham, someone from the Eastham Rec Department is part of the oversight
Mhm.
body of that's managing this. So that makes sense to me.
Is it split equally between the three towns or is it?
It's equally,
Okay,
You mean any costs?
right, like this
well,
Brewster.
that's one of my questions.
Mhm.
Right.
So
It's
this,
it's not clear to me.
so this goes back to an agreement that was dated in.
Long time
2000.
ago.
2000. is
I know,
the Agreement.
2000. Tom Newton was the
Right,
chair
he
of the
signed it.
select board.
Mhm.
He signed it in 2000.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, if you look at their funding source, it isn't equal. I mean, the funding for building it and renovating is primarily Orleans.
And that's one of my.
Yeah.
The agreement is equal, so.
Right, but
So,
They had 30%, Eastham had 24,
Hmm.
Brewster had 14. Other Cape 20, off Cape 12.
But that funding's the ones that you're talking about, builds and renovations, that document doesn't have the routine maintenance costs on it.
Right, you're
That
right.
just
Right.
has the extraordinary items.
Yeah.
So,
ramp.
have any of you been down to see it ever and see the kids
No,
there?
I gotta go look.
It's absolutely fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really, there's nothing else like it on the Outer Cape.
Okay.
And they made a comment in the application that I thought was quite good, that there's sort of two different time periods. During
yes,
after
yeah,
school, it's the
Yeah,
younger
yeah.
kids, and then later the
The crazy
the-
people.
the older
older kids
folks.
come. And there's this little overlap that happens where there's a lot of
have
camaraderie.
interaction.
It's really fun to watch. I used to take my grandkids to the park that's adjacent to that.
Mm-hmm.
They loved watching the kids and wished that I would let them do it.
So December 6th, they're at, yeah, December 6th, I think they're ready. For a full,
Okay, so the next item is the Eastham Elementary School playground, and that just came in today. And
Melinda
that
Bird one.
is, I'm going to, let me see, December 6th, December 13th. In January, what was the January 4th? Third, I think you said January 3rd, right?
Is this complete?
I'm not sure who would be coming in. That might be Linda Burt. Linda
I
Bill-
believe she
Bill-
was, she
She
dropped it
wrote the
off this
grant.
morning.
Yeah, Linda Burt's the one I understand has been the one that's done the work, so.
And
Let me see, I'm just looking to see what else. I'm going to, the Schoolhouse Museum, I'm going to just leave that blank right now. Well, I think Art would like to come in at our next meeting. If he's had a chance, well, maybe I should make that the 13th. Give him some time to do the work that he wants to do, or review, or looking for documents or whatever it consists
Which
of.
date?
December
Talking
13th.
about Art coming back with his addendum and so forth. Should I give him December 13th? Gives him about 2 months. Or a month and a half.
Well, December 6th is our normal meeting.
I know.
Are we meeting?
Well,
13th?
I'm looking to see what
We
else.
set it up as a possible date.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I guess
right.
the other thing too is, we have to work on the 5-year plan.
Right.
So,
Do you want to leave the 13th for the 5-year plan?
yeah, I gotta contact Jen, see what
Yeah,
her
what her
schedule is.
schedule,
and
yeah.
So we're gonna need those extra dates anyways, whether
Okay.
it's
So I'll
for this or
leave,
the plan updates.
I'll leave
to be
December
determined.
13th for the 5-year plan.
And ask the elementary school to be on the 6th. That's not too much to do on the 6th.
If we put number 6, I'm not sorry, number 5, the elementary school. We'll
And
want to
then,
put that for December 6th.
right, and both of those are rec related. So there's some logic to having
Yeah.
them at the same time,
Mhm.
in case somebody from the rec department wants to come. Also,
To talk about the Finch Skate Park.
right, and
Yeah,
the elementary school
Mhm.
one.
I'm not sure. I'm looking at number 5 application and they haven't even done existing conditions. In the process of completing.
I
it.
think
So this
that
could-
they have not done
Anything. So
too much.
they may not be ready, but we can put them on. Let's put them on for the 6th. And
Yeah.
if they want to postpone until January, we can do it. Because right now this is a number in the sky. There isn't any
Yeah,
background. Okay,
Right, they don't have an actual quote
right.
that we know of.
Well, I think they've admitted that they're just studying it. So,
yeah.
Right.
good. Okay.
So let me see, right now we've got 3 for December 6th, number 3, number 4, and number 5.
Right.
The schoolhouse, if we leave December 13th for the 5-year plan. December 6th is the next one, that's really in a month. Do you think that's enough time for Art to do whatever he needs to do?
I would
Or we'll move it. to
put that
Jan-
off till
To
January.
January the 13th,
If we end up needing a legal opinion,
January 3rd. Why did you say 13th? January 3rd, it's December 13th, January 3rd.
Right.
Okay, number 6 is January 3rd. That's the schoolhouse. Then they were down to number 7, Spring Rock Village, and I don't even know. I haven't looked at that at all, so I don't even know who that is.
Carolyn, do you have information on that?
Only what I read. I did read, not the whole thing, but
Yeah.
I read the application.
Mm.
It's the organization called the Preservation of Affordable Housing and the Housing Assistance Corporation.
Mhm.
They are working with the town of Brewster to put in 45 units of housing at 80% or below AMI on town land owned by Brewster, that on the day of closing will then be deeded over to the Preservation of Affordable Housing, which is an entity, and the Housing Assistance Corporation. So it's similar to the village at Nauset Green and similar to the program that we funded last year in Orleans.
The 107 Main Street.
Right. So it's a somewhat similar kind of project. So there is a lot of detail to be read, but in concept, it's a similar project.
Mhm.
They're asking for funding from,
From other towns
Other
like they've
towns as
done
well.
in the
Mhm.
past.
Yeah. yeah,
Oh.
and they said,
Orleans and.
right, they said in the, I actually don't remember which towns, but in the application, they said that they have asked the state for the ability to include Eastham residents in the initial round of local preference.
Well, that's good.
In response to submitting, receiving funding.
Mhm.
That's a request, it's not
Given,
given, but that was encouraging.
but
They-
they would, I'm assuming they would do the same thing with the other towns that are giving 100%.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and they will be requesting low-income tax credits and other state funding that they feel. I'm reading, just only by reading this, it seems like they feel relatively confident of getting, but because it's a similar kind of project that the state likes to fund. And the state likes when they're cross jurisdiction, cross town projects. So I mean, it seems like on the surface, at least, it seems like a good project, and I'm sure that they'd be happy to come and talk to us.
So do you know, I'm just looking at the name of the person that submitted it, Vitalia, and I'm not sure.
No.
Block Lab.
He's with the POA, the
Preservation.
Preservation of, it's called POA. POAH is how they abbreviate it. And no, I don't know her. But I'm sure that we could ask both someone from POA and Housing Assistance Corporation both to come and talk with us.
Who would be,
Well, we would
who would?
we would contact Vitalia,
Yeah, and then ask
And
her to,
ask
ask her
also
to,
somebody from.
have
Housing
somebody join
Assistance.
her.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have people
So-
we've talked to quite often. And I'm sure that they would be happy to come. And if we made that in January, then we'd have the Affordable Housing Trust and this one, which are both housing related
Yeah,
in
yeah,
January.
yeah. So that's number 7, January 3rd.
Well, I was just thinking, I realized it fits better with but the other affordable housing, but it's complete and they might be ready for December 6th. So I wonder if we might give them the option. But we can see, because I think the next one needs to be January 3rd. I just know some of the things they're waiting for are going to be tough with
No, it's no problem. putting them
I-
in.
give Karen-
They're complete right now to
They're-
come to see us.
So either one, Mary's, would be
Mhm.
fine.
I'm sorry, what did you just say, Dan?
I said obviously they've done their work
Yeah.
before even submitting, so
Oh, are you talking about Spring Rock?
yes.
Yeah.
So they could go in December.
Mm.
So either one, Mary's, would be fine. Get it out of
Yeah,
the
see
way in
which-
December.
see which,
Let's
yeah.
See, January 3rd, we have 2 January 3rds, number 1 and number 2 right now.
And
Have,
possibly
and
the
then number
schoolhouse.
5.
I thought you put number 6.
I mean, number six, you're right.
Six,
number-
yeah.
number
Which
six.
numbers do you have? One?
And
one,
then we have three on, number 3, 4, and 5 for December 6th.
3, 4, 5, 7.
So that's what we're just talking about now,
Mhm.
so. If we put just number 7 for December 6th. You see, Lower Cape, that's small, Finch, that's small, that's small. I
Yeah.
think that might be a good
That's
a
good.
good fit. I agree with Carolyn that is, you know, it is housing and the first number 1 and number 2 are housing, but
No, the first
They're
one is
different.
I
historic.
think,
Yeah, number 1 is historic.
yeah,
Number
yeah,
2 is.
but it could, there's housing,
I think December's
housing
good.
associated
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah,
Good. Okay.
December's good.
And then January
And
3rd
then-
for the
And
last
then,
one.
Yes.
yeah, I think we better do January 3rd for number 8.
Yeah.
Number 1, because of other things we've got for December 6th, and number 2, I give them a little more time to do it.
So we got
later.
4 in December and 4 in January.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And that leaves, if you want, that leaves December 13th, which we'd had as a tentative meeting to meet with Jan and
For the 5-year.
for the
That's
five-year
right,
plan.
yeah, we're gonna do December 13th,
Yeah.
and everybody should know, put that down because it's on the calendars to be decided, and I think we've decided that we're going to decide to do it.
Pending.
Decided that we decided to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
See,
try to call her tomorrow, and I guess I was just thinking. If the 13th doesn't work and the 6th does, then we can. Stacy and I will shuffle
Then you and Stacy will do what?
the dates around,
Oh,
just
oh.
make it all work without
Right.
Oh,
cramming
that
everything
makes
into one.
sense.
Is there, how many days do you think we're gonna need on that? I mean, should we schedule one in January?
You're talking about the 5-year plan?
Yeah.
Another one, in
I-
addition to December
I would,
13th.
yeah, I would just plan to use those alternate dates, at least December
See,
and
I'm
January
looking
to start.
see. We have an alternate date on January 10th in, and we have another one in March,
What's the date in March, Mary?
March 6th.
March 6th would be our regular meeting.
Yeah, right. But it's down as to be decided because we will have.
Oh,
usually
probably
done.
Yeah, if you do
Be
the
in good
reserve, I
shape by then,
guess.
so.
Okay.
Yeah,
um,
that's what that one was usually used for, I think.
So why doesn't everybody hold on their calendars December 13th and January 10th? For the 5-year plan. And for some reason, and I don't know why is the December 13th one on here for 4 o'clock? I don't know why there is another one.
Might have been from last year.
Last
I
year, I
think-
think it was, yeah.
That was
Yeah,
work
it's-
with the
yeah.
date,
Yeah.
the time for that.
Normally when we want to do a double. When this isn't a double, so it wouldn't be about right. Well,
Yeah, so I think we should make December 13th at 5 o'clock.
correct.
It'll be dark no matter what.
Yes.
I just want people to
Sorry,
know
Eileen.
in advance when we're meeting and.
Yep.
Okay, so December 13th is at 5 o'clock and it's on the 5-year plan, and please note on your calendars, January 10th at 5 o'clock, also on the 5-year plan. Okay. Anything else on item number 6?
Thank you to Stacy for making all the copies.
I know, how long did it take?
Organizing it.
What time did they all come in at 3:49?
4 came in today.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but were they?
No, they staggered throughout the day.
Oh,
There
well,
was-
they didn't all come in at
No,
5 or 4.
no, no. No.
I think in the future, there's absolutely no reason for us to receive this much material. I mean, we're not reviewing the site plan, we're not reviewing the design, we're not reviewing anything. So I would think the application, I'm not even gonna put it, I just have the application and that's all I'm gonna keep in my packet, because I don't know why we need this.
Can I have yours? Seth?
Yes, please.
I would wait till after the meeting,
Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe we'll be.
just
After the
in,
meeting.
just in case.
Yeah, no, I understand. But I mean, generally speaking, on these applications, we don't get involved in the design.
because
We
we're
just get
not
involved in
planning
the
and
funding.
zoning.
Right, okay.
You're not gonna be there with your hammer and
No,
and with your
I'm not
nails?
gonna do it. No.
Well, thank you,
It's
Stacy.
an
for-
interesting project, though.
Yeah, thank you, Stacy.
Using
for-
town
for
land and it's still
doing the-
$27 million to build how many units?
45.
It's not very many, is it? Considering Bracket Landing is 65.
That was the deal. Rocket landing was the
That
deal.
was also 4 years ago,
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
understand.
Right.
10% inflation a year,
Yeah, it's huge,
mounts up.
huge.
And in construction, it's probably more than 10.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and one of the things I forgot to mention, speaking of construction, is that we did get a bid in on the town hall here. And the bid came in at $1,066,000. And we had originally thought it was going to be about 680,000. That was the amount on our thing. So talking about inflation is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so the only other item I have on here under other business, I think I sent something out to everybody about their open meeting law, and if it was something of interest to you. I attended one of them. And I find them of interest only because of well, the different committees that I'm involved with. And it might be something that you would be interested in, Stacy, because you do the minutes and all that type of stuff. So there are a bunch of them. One of them was already held, or two of them was already held. And I think I can give you the information. Here it is here.
Yeah, thank you for sharing the information.
Yeah. And I think there's one coming up, November 6th. And another one on December 5th, so,
I looked at the website.
yeah,
Yeah.
I found them very interesting. Any other topics of discussion this evening? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes. To adjourn.
That is Joanna. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dan, all in favor? Aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0. Yeah, it is 6. Well, I've got 6:15. Oh, 6:15. Yes. 6, 7.